Hello, William and Mary. Thank you for tuning in. We are wrapping up an academic year unlike any other. We've achieved so much together, and it's been incredibly difficult. The successes that we're having now are hard won. And I want the whole of this community at William and Mary, students and staff, faculty, administrators, neighbors, families, to hear this. Where we are now is due to you. This is a community of amazing partners and colleagues. Holding to our Healthy Together commitments this year has been a Herculean effort. Early in the season, last summer, I said we had to take rules and turn them into habits. And that has truly happened. We see that with mask wearing around campus. I've said it before, and I'm going to keep saying, we are so fortunate to have such caring students at this university. I'm always going to remember the dedication to protecting our community that our students showed and how they persevered. We could not have achieved what we have this year without that perseverance. After today, we're going to have one more community conversation before we break for the summer. During these last 6 weeks, we've been collecting feedback for strategic planning, and in May, we're going to play that back to you, what we heard, what the main themes were about how to build on the momentum that we have gained this year. As we prepare to develop a vision for William & Mary through 2030 and to set strategic priorities. And when I say momentum, I'm thinking about what we've achieved, the way that we've launched new programs, taught and worked in very different ways, forged bonds across our silos, and shown incredible resourcefulness and adaptability. We've learned that we can do more than most of us have imagined. We're ready for some rest. So I hope you were all thinking about that. But I want to say a few things that are particularly special about this moment in time. As many of you know, Princeton Review just ranked William & Mary the best public university in the nation for internships and for community engagement. Now, enhancing career pathways for students and intensifying our focus on service, those were two key areas that we elevated for this year under pandemic. A little bit more than a year ago, we were just starting to plan what would it mean to have service and to have career pathways broadly construed at the heart of our planning under pandemic. We approached those in completely new ways with cross-university teams and with transformative new programming. So it is especially sweet to receive these accolades affirming that innovative work. And it's also especially sweet that in May, we're going to be holding in-person commencements, 6 events to be precise, so that we can invite family and be consistent with the governor's guidelines. So for today, we want to focus on commencement and on our graduates. I've asked several students who will be recognized at commencement to join us. Here we have Nick, a JV Arma, who's receiving a JD in the class of 21. John Kiner, also class of 21. Sonia Kinkabwala, class of 21. And Joey Matt, who's receiving a PhD in class of 21. Welcome to you all. I'm gonna kick us off by thinking back over the course of this year and ask you, tell me, maybe starting with Joey and Nick, tell me what was going through your mind when you started this academic year in the heart of pandemic. Just give us a couple of snapshots of what you were most looking forward to and what you were most nervous about.
Well, the obvious to me was, how will we maintain healthy habits through this time? I was thinking about myself and I was thinking about my friends, and it was going to be a slog in some ways, but it was also an opportunity to build new habits. And so there was some challenge and I guess a little bit of excitement with some aspects of a new system, but again, it was certainly health was top of my mind.
I agree with Joey. I think at the midst or at the beginning of the pandemic, I think for me and a lot of students, right, we were hoping, a lot of people generally were hoping for brevity in the pandemic. There was almost that initial like, oh, okay, it'll be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, right? Just a little bit of time. And then we kept realizing, oh, this is longer than, we actually think it might go. So I think initially what I was looking forward to was hoping that it would only be like a 2 to 3 week break per se, right? And then we return back to campus. But I think it became a little more difficult, and I became a little more nervous when I realized that in my own personal life, I'd have to engage in behaviors and actions that would sustain me throughout the pandemic, and also try to find resources for other students, right? Because at that time, I was also president of the Student Bar Association, which is the law school student government. So in that role, making sure that other students felt that they were supported too. So that's what I was definitely nervous about.
So I'm going to ask Sonia and John to fast forward to now, listening to those snapshots from a year ago. What are you thinking about today as you're looking towards commencement?
I'm excited for commencement. I'm just excited that we get to have it in person. And I'm so grateful. I have a lot of gratitude. I think that's like the dominant emotion that I'm feeling right now. And it's so nice because I think, Joey was talking about health and just like the very tangible concerns of like, will we be able to sustain our health and care for those around us? And I think at this point, it's been nice to feel a little bit, at least in my experience, of a switch in the tone of conversation to like, now how can we just be joyful together and, kind of move into this new space? And so I'm feeling so much gratitude for all the people that were with me while we were all kind of going through this very difficult time for so many reasons. And now we get to sort of move out of that together. So I'm very grateful for that.
I agree completely about, I guess, the gratitude. I remember when this pandemic started and we had decided that we were returning for fall semester, I spoke with a couple of my professors and we sort of were placing bets like, oh, how long do you think we're going to be here before they send us home? And I said a month. A couple of my professors were less optimistic. And I just think that I am so thankful for the entire community, I suppose, for being so good about behaving in ways so as to stop the spread of COVID and just being responsible generally. And I think that, I guess, generally the way that people have acted has made it possible for us to stay here. And for people who are graduating this year to be able to be on campus is really nice.
We were all, I think, knew how hard what we were about to attempt was. It hadn't been done. Remember last summer, there were no shared norms. There were no shared norms in the nation. And again, one of the things I'm going to remember, and this became clear maybe 6 weeks into last semester, we changed Williamsburg. Students came back in August. People were not wearing masks. Students came back and you wore masks. At one point we had 97% mask wearing when we started studying it, and that changed the community. They adopted our practices. I'm so grateful for the city council and the mayor for that. But we changed that. We took it in our hands, and it was an amazing thing to be part of and to see unfold. As we're thinking about the opportunities that have come out of this year, I do think that sense of shared commitment to something that matters deeply and what it looks like when we do it together is one of the incredible lessons for each of you personally, maybe starting with Joey and John. What other opportunities have come out of this year for you?
So an interesting development that's happened because of the pandemic, new ways to communicate. And I know that, Zoom fatigue is real, but there was some opportunities to have some fun Zoom opportunities with colleagues. And one of the most special things that's developed is happy hour Zooms with my mentor and other professionals in my field that has from all around the world, people from, Australia getting on, and New Zealand and West Coast, and all being able to come together in a way that maybe wouldn't have happened if it weren't for the pandemic. So that's been a neat development.
I also think that generally the amount of time that we've had to spend more or less alone makes the social interactions that we do have like seem much more valuable. So now if I'm walking around campus and I see anyone I know, I accost them. I'm like, please talk to me. And I think that generally speaking, people are more willing to like value friendships and like being able to take the time to talk with those that they know and care about. I think that strangely enough, although like most of my meetings with my professors have been via Zoom, obviously, I've developed like much closer relationships with some of my teachers this year, probably because of the fact that I think everybody's so anxious to talk to people whenever it's possible. And I think that that's, I guess, an unexpected effect of it, but I think in some ways it's a good thing.
If I were to put out to all of you, maybe as an organization, as a university, what are the opportunities that you've seen that are going to help us flourish going forward, that were new ones this year?
I think within this year, there were two pandemics, right? The pandemic of COVID-19, but then also the pandemic we saw as it pertained to racial injustice and how that fueled social movements across the world, really. And what I think is interesting is that push has led organizations and institutions to galvanize their intrinsic motivation as it pertains to racial injustice and diversity, equity, and inclusion and whatnot, and to take a more active role, right, in dismantling and addressing those systems of oppression. So I think William & Mary has, tapped into that source, right, and engaged in the renaming campaign and having sessions in regards to ensuring that students, right, have the ability to speak about the ways in which this institution and its history might have an adverse impact on marginalized communities, right? So now that we have the ability to have those conversations, I think the university as a whole will be much more able to flourish in the future, given the honesty and sort of the candidness in which the social movements have created those conversations and those platforms.
Yeah, I can speak to that too. I totally agree with Nick about the dual pandemics. And I think for me, like William & Mary, the institution, has always also just been William & Mary, the people. And I think that's true of so many people here. And, I find myself having these kinds of conversations a lot more with my friends, and how, our different racial identities and just the way that we think about ourselves and show up in the world. I never used to have those kinds of conversations with my friends. And that's something that now, through talking about that with other people here, has become something that I think about more, and I'm more conscious, and also more conscious of their intersecting identities. And so I think in the future, William & Mary students will also, when they come to William & Mary, they will also get to enjoy and also have the hard conversations and have the difficult sort of like, I didn't realize this, and I didn't know that your experience was this way. And I think that's something that just adds incredible value to the institution and will make it an even better place to be.
I hope that continues. I see so many different versions of that. I see the increasing sophistication of students and staff and faculty in engaging those conversations. And what Nick said, the increasing commitment to truthfulness. Half-truths don't get us there. We are about full, robust, whole truths. And how do we pursue those, knowing that that takes effort, it takes, again, expertise, sophistication, and a broad commitment to it. And then I think the ways that we've discovered in our professional lives, the more of the whole person, when you see your colleague's kids come through a meeting, or you know that your colleague is juggling caring for a parent, those kinds of workplace and professional, that new openness to the whole person and the new openness to the different kinds of labor that have made this work. I'm so grateful that students have recognized over and over again our housekeeping, our facilities services, our healthcare services, our quarantine queen, the operations that have kept us healthy, and the visibility of kinds of labor, particularly in hospitality, that matters so much to creating a learning community, is something I hope never goes away. I hope we keep that with us. We've been talking a lot over the last month in leadership about unsung heroes and how we make that work visible. Everyone who's had such a positive impact on our lives under pandemic, particularly those who have really changed how they work, whether it's a mentor or a faculty member or a staff member or a student who made us smile, as John was saying, and helped us get through a difficult moment. Maybe could you guys give us some quick examples of your unsung heroes? Let's elevate them and give them shout outs.
Okay, well, my unsung hero is definitely my best friend, Anna Platt, who's a student at this university. I met her the first day I got here, like my first day of freshman year orientation, and we've been friends ever since. And I don't think I'd ever had a friend as supportive prior to coming to college. I guess it's just really exciting to be able to have a friend who, when I accomplish something or when she accomplishes something, we can be proud of each other, and there's not one hint of, I guess, jealousy or anything like that. When you, I guess, accomplish something and somebody is genuinely, you can tell, happy for you, it's a great feeling to have. And this year I obviously applied for graduate school, which is difficult under normal circumstances, but was not the best this year. And she was so supportive the entire time. And so, yeah, I just have to thank her. Thank you, Anna Platt.
I have so many unsung heroes. This question is I just have so many things. And John's story just reminds me of so many more people who have really been there for me. I feel like President Rowe, you were talking about, the whole person and how that's, just been so much more. We really delved into that during this time. And somebody that comes to mind when you say that is Professor Kathleen Jenkins in the sociology department. And I've been doing an independent study with her this semester, and I've definitely struggled with imposter syndrome when it comes to academics and research. And I was nervous about this independent study. And, with her guidance, she's really helped me bring the personal and the academic together. And I think, I like to have reflective conversations. I like to talk about, everything in my life, my friends and what's going on in their life and how, just how we're feeling. But I never really felt super comfortable doing that in an academic context. And I think working with Professor Jenkins, I was writing up a little description of my research process, and I used the word scattered. Because it took me a while to find a research focus and I didn't really know what would be meaningful. And she's just like, don't use that word. That's what research is. You try a lot of different things and you figure out what sticks and what's meaningful, not only to your, singular project, but, in the greater context. And she just reframed how I thought about myself and how I thought about research and academia. And I think that's just really Mary in a nutshell is Kathleen Jenkins helping me with my project. It is just, you go to William & Mary for a wonderful education and you get that, but you come away with so much more because of these people. So thank you, Professor Jenkins.
I'd like to give a shout out to the academic studies here at VIMS, Kathy Cake, Jen Hay, and Linda Schaffner, who under normal circumstances are supportive of the students. And when the pandemic hit, they were even more there and more supportive. Linda Schaffner reached out to me directly, asking me how I was doing, and they all just, I knew that they were there, a safety net that I could go to with my concerns about my acceleration in the program, and that meant so much. And so I want to thank all of them for their support and safety net during such a tough time.
Yeah, I think to John's point as well, there are so many students, right, who have helped me personally get through this semester, but I think also just generally, I want to shout out to students overall. The fact that we are still doing this in a pandemic, right, still in a higher education space in a pandemic speaks volumes to our dedication to our craft and to what we want to do. So I really want to shout out to students. And then in the law school space, I definitely want to just highlight the work of Dean Shepard, our Dean of Students, who is constantly trying to work for students and uplift their voices and provide resources for them as well. So shout out to all students and then Dean Shepard as well.
That's fantastic. I'll shout out to the President's Aides last year and this year, because there are so many hard, confusing, uncertain things. And we had so many thoughtful, tough, stretching conversations, and I understood things completely differently after those conversations over and over again this year. So I'll add to the chorus on students. Just a couple quick questions. Let's go quickly through these so that we can cover a few more in the time that we have. Joey, I'm going to ask you to think about what makes you most proud, and as you look back at your years, all of your years as a William & Mary student.
Yeah, I'm most proud of the experience that I've had here and the people I've learned from. I've really been fortunate to learn from top class scientists and professionals that have, taught me so much and shaped me so much as a young scientist over the years. And I'm very proud of that. And I know that they're in my circle and willing to collaborate moving forward. So I'm really proud of the connections and the people I've learned from here.
Okay. Maybe John, what did you learn at William & Mary that you think is best going to prepare you for the next chapter?
Strangely enough, I don't think it's anything academic. I think I've actually learned a lot more about myself when I was here. When I came into college, I was actually previously planning to be a concert violinist, strangely enough. And so I came into college having really no idea what I wanted to do, and I was so tightly wound. And so you sort of, I think, when you don't know what you're doing, adopt, I guess, an attitude of sort of like just glibness and insincerity about things. And just being around the sorts of people that I've been around here, whether it be other students or professors, they kind of have, I guess, taught me to be able to relax and be comfortable more so with who I am, and also how to be, I guess, sincere about what I want and what I'm looking to do with my life. And I think that that's probably the most valuable thing that I've learned.
There was a wonderful moment in one of the early community conversations with one of our amazing admissions officers talking about how we did admissions virtually. And she said, when you're in this mode, you just bring what you have. When you're on Zoom, it's kind of pared down to honesty and what you have. And John, what you just said really connects that thread for me. This is a mode that we've been pushed into that has required us to pare down to what matters most. I want to transition a little bit to thinking about what comes after, but carrying this thread forward of your time here, Sonia, I'm going to ask you maybe to think about As we carry forward the mission of convening great minds and hearts to meet the most pressing needs of our time, and here immediately those were, how can we work and learn together in a way that's safe under pandemic? But there are so many pressing needs. How can we come together around profound differences and awakening around social justice issues? And as you think about the next pressing needs coming our way, what are you going to carry forward? What do you want to keep continuing to do from your time at William and Mary?
I think being at William and Mary really taught me how to listen. I did not think that I was a great listener before I came here, and I frankly think I learned that from my friends. I think other people, through listening to me, have just taught me how valuable being a good listener and like a patient listener is. And I think that is one of the pressing needs of our time. I think listening to somebody's story, sitting with them and saying, tell me about you and your life and how you see yourself and your place in this world that can often seem incredibly overwhelming for so many reasons. So I think William Mary taught me how to listen, and I just think that after graduation, I want to continue to hold space for people in the way that people here have done for me and have taught me so brilliantly how to do.
Nick, a question for you that's in that same vein, but turning it around to the 2Ls that are following, or the juniors that are following, the seniors here. What advice do you have coming out of this year for them?
Yeah, I think this year, if anything, has taught us that we are, all in the same storm, but we're braving it differently, right? And it's important to have an authentic approach to what self-care looks like for you, what engaging in higher education looks like for you, all of those things. So my recommendation is, leave this experience understanding that, yes, it's important to understand what you need to be, quote unquote, whatever successful is in a space, but also sometimes you need to put the blinders on and just look inward and say, what do I need to get me through this time? And what resources can I engage with to support me personally? Because no one can really do that for you. So just be your biggest advocate, and approach your life authentically.
A lesson in resourcefulness, really wonderfully. Okay, so fun stuff, just immediate. What are you most looking forward to in commencement weekend? One sentence from each of you.
An in-person event.
I would say connecting with friends again, right? And family, and just really getting to enjoy all the pomp and circumstance that comes with, graduation. I think it's going to be super fun.
Yeah, for me, it's seeing my family, definitely.
I'll go right ahead and second that. Also, my family, they're my unsung heroes too. So I'm really excited that they'll get to come here.
I'm excited that because we're splitting the commencements into 6, we're going to be having people walk across the stage, which we don't usually do. That's neat. And I love, love, love conferring the degrees and watching the experience of that change that occurs when it actually happens. And so being able to do that in person is going to be amazing. And then quickly, just a sentence or so about what you're doing. What comes next for each of you?
I'm taking a postdoctoral research position, Texas A&M Corpus Christi, to research applying genetic technology to benefit oyster farming, which I'm passionate about here in the Chesapeake, and I'm excited to continue on in the Gulf.
Super cool. Not as cool as Joey's, but I have accepted a full-time offer as an incoming compliance analyst at Goldman Sachs in Salt Lake City, Utah. So going off to Utah, which will be exciting. And then before I start that in August, but I'll be taking the bar exam in July. So I'll be studying up until then.
I have no idea. I'm going home. I'm going home to New Jersey and taking some family time just to be with everyone. My sister is going to college in the fall, so getting her ready for that, the like excitement of actually being able to move her in person will build, I'm sure. So yeah, just spending time with family, and just taking a little bit of a pause.
That sounds awesome.
I accepted an offer from the University of Oxford, and I'm going there to pursue a master's degree in international relations, and then hopefully after that, a PhD as well. So I'm going to start brushing up on my stats skills over the summer, I think.
That's so exciting to hear. Congratulations to all of you for the awards, for graduating, and for exploring what's coming next in these terrific and different ways. I'm going to say to everybody who's been listening that we're looking forward to seeing the great things that the class of 2021 is going to do. And I invite you to join in the shout outs and send some gratitude grams to express your gratitude. They'll be available at the Sadler Center this year as they were last. Send a simple note of thanks to anyone who's encouraged and supported you during this difficult year. It means so much. Remember that our commencement ceremonies will be live streamed on our website, May 21, 22, and 23. So you can participate wherever you are. And we're going to be convening our final community conversation of this extraordinary year next month. Stay tuned for the date. Thank you so much, everybody, and stay well.